Welcome to the Landscape Photography Vlogcast, hosted by myself, Tom Peters, aka the Photo Ninja, all the way up north, Paul Thompson Photography, and Struth mate, it's Matt Bishop. We cover all things photography and chat to some of the best photography minds in the business. Put your feet up, the kettle on, and let's jump straight into this week's Vlogcast. Proudly sponsored by Case Filters. Capture with confidence.
Right, guys, welcome to the podcast. How's everyone doing this week?
Yeah, we're good, mate. How are you?
Yeah,
Not
bad,
too
thanks,
bad.
buddy.
Not too bad. What time is it for you, Matt?
I've got no idea. I've already been up here chatting with you guys for the last hour, and I thought that was going to be our podcast time, but instead it's, 10:15 at night time now. I said to my wife, I'll be done by 10:30 at the most. We haven't even started yet.
Yeah. This is exactly what I said to my missus.
Yeah. Never mind.
I think the best thing is to do is when we connect, we should just press record straight away because we're only talking about photography anyway. So we might as well just
all the good stuff's gone by the time we start.
It is. Because what we try and do is get all the dirty comments out of our system. So when we actually press record, we're a bit more clean, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So the subject for today, guys, what we're going to talk about. So it's difficult to word, but let's try and give it a title. We can call it parenthood and landscape photography. A balancing act, let's call it. Okay, so how do we continue to enjoy this hobby or this profession, this passion of landscape photography, and at the same time maintain a healthy balance with our family? Because everyone who has small children, even teenagers, knows it's very, very difficult to already balance out your family life as it is, but to even try and fit in landscape photography into it too is even more difficult. So we thought today we'd talk about what techniques Tom uses, what techniques Paul uses, what techniques I use, because we've all got small kids at home, so we're pretty much we're professionals on this, aren't we, guys?
Yeah,
you kind of
definitely.
a frame of mind, don't you?
Yeah,
absolutely. We definitely speak for the majority that live on planet Earth. I would say that anyone who has a passion or a semi-profession, or in Paul's case, a full-time profession, it's all a juggling act, isn't it, all the time?
Oh yeah,
it is definitely.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've noticed with you, Tom, you've been very, very consistent for a long time on your YouTube channel, for example. So you pretty much go out every single weekend, early in the morning. You go out and you photograph. How do you manage to do that every single week and have a family at home at the same time? Can't be easy.
No. Well, first of all, I should probably thank my missus for that.
I think we can all thank our missus for that, can't we?
Yeah, before I forget, because she might listen to this podcast. She might not. I'll get that one in there early. I go out in the morning is in my general rule. I'm a morning person anyway, and I'm predominantly a woodland photographer now. So it's quieter in the mornings. There's less people about as compared to a sunrise, and I feel like woodlands are low light situations, so I feel less stressed if I know the light's going to increase, as opposed to I'm fighting or chasing a decreasing light source.
Yeah.
For some reason, I find sunrises, I just feel like I've got more time. Even if I allow enough time of daylight, I feel like I'm less rushed in the mornings. It's a bit difficult now because although I get up later, which makes sleeping easier, getting out of bed easier, I got less time. I'm eating into my family weekends now a little bit more in during the winter because the days are obviously shorter. So instead of sometimes in the summer, I can get back from a 3-4 hour shoot at 9-10 o'clock, whereas now it's more like 12-1 o'clock.
You lazy bugger! God.
So I feel more torn now between what I'm doing, and trying to keep consistent and feed that YouTube system that we all know all about, and eating into my Saturday with the family. But yeah, in the summer it's easy. You know, if the sun rises at 4:15, I can do a 3-hour shoot and I'm back easy by 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then we can start our weekend.
Yeah, and you're the one that puts the kettle on because everyone's still in bed usually at that time, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I mean, the thing is, you're doing it weekly. I mean, I don't get out that much, mate. I wish I did. I mean, you do it too. I think to try and maintain your your YouTube channel to keep it consistent. I mean, I have a YouTube channel, but it's not consistent at all. It's actually horrible. Please don't go on there. Anyone who's listening to it, it's the worst YouTube channel you'll find out there.
It's not, so, mate.
You've got the pressure of having to do that, and well, it's definitely a kick up your bum to get out of the bed on a Saturday morning, isn't it? Because you feel like you have to do it. I'm not in that. I don't have that pressure as much.
It is. I do find obviously there is pressure for me to be successful with YouTube. It does mean being consistent. But it is still about the image. I go out every week because I want to photograph. I think about photographing all week when I'm at work. So the weekend is about taking images, and I love editing videos. I've always been interested in video editing.
Okay.
And I burn the candle at both ends week in, week out to try and feed them two habits. But it is about the image, and the pressure I put on myself is I suppose you could say is down to YouTube, because if I didn't have the YouTube channel, I would probably be less likely that I would think about going out on weekends if the weather weren't particularly great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I use that in a positive way by thinking, well, I got to go out if I want to progress at the YouTube. I find it does help me, helps my photography, because sometimes I might go out and might take images that I wouldn't normally take, but I'm still still time behind the lens, isn't it?
The more time you are behind the lens, the more you keep your brain what's the word? Trained, basically, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you're constantly doing it all the time, so you're always, when you're out on field every time, you feel like you don't need to stretch. You're already there when you get out. Yeah. Okay, so you record your videos. You've done that early on a morning. Let's say on a Saturday morning, you're back at home at midday. You've got your little girl pulling on your tracksuit pants, saying, "Daddy, come and play with me." But then you've got a video to edit, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you've got to worry about social media. You've got to be able to put it up there. You've got to edit your images too. And at the same time, you've had an email come in to say, "I'm interested in doing a one-on-one workshop with you next month." How do you manage all the rest?
I tend to have a schedule. Tell me. I tend to aim to edit my images, whether that be 1, 2, 3. It's generally no more than 3. By Wednesday night is my aim. But I am ahead now, so I'm editing images and editing video 2 weeks ahead. So it feels like the pressure's off a little bit, if you know what I mean. So I'm taking images for this. Say I'm coming out this weekend. I'll be editing images that I took 2 weeks ago now.
Okay.
So I'm not shooting on the Saturday and then straight into them images I took on that Saturday. They're 2 weeks behind. And
so your editing you do all at night time when everyone's gone to sleep?
Generally, generally. So I do my day job. I get in, I do, the dad things. The little one goes to bed, and then the laptop comes out, and I either come up to my office, or I end up doing is sitting downstairs because I feel guilty for coming up and spending all night in my office. So I end up sitting on the sofa with some crappy program on that Mrs. wants to watch in the background. I've got quite good at blanking stuff out like that doesn't benefit me.
Do you still get neighbours in the UK?
Yeah, I think so, Paul, didn't we? But
Does
it's
it
on
still,
a,
does it still
I haven't
exist?
seen it.
yeah,
I
I
haven't
think
seen
but
it for a long, long time.
it's on
Oh.
at like free in it or half free or something.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's well before I get back from work, really.
I can remember when I first moved out to London, and it was like a day I'd be there. I turned on the tally at someone's house, and an episode of Neighbours came on. I miss home so much. God. Yeah, so it's a balancing act, isn't it? You're spending a lot of time working early hours in the morning and late at night, and then, I mean, why are we talking about this? Because there's people out there. I mean, I've talked about this before. You know, a young bloke in his early 20s, or a female, or someone who's retired or doesn't have children, has a lot more time to dedicate to photography and can be far more productive in a very, very short period of time, because they do have the whole entire day available every day. Generally speaking, obviously everyone's got problems too, and they can't always dedicate all their time to it, but it's you're far more productive when you don't have when your children's at home, and you obviously want to spend quality time with your wife too, don't you?
Yeah.
And your extended family and friends and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we do have friends, we do have a social life, so it's hard to balance it all out, isn't it?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it's nice as well just to sit and watch a crap program with your girlfriend, you know, and just chat about non-photography. So it's hard to find that time as well, you know?
Yeah, but if you lived and breathed it all the time, it would just it would get difficult, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah.
Imagine if I was just about to say you beat me to it. I was going to say, imagine if you're a full-time photographer.
Yeah, it gets hard to switch off. I'm still trying to find the balance, I must admit.
Yeah. But you'll get used to that, I'm sure, when you know.
Well, especially because I'm trying to find my feet with it all at the minute. It's like,
yeah, that's it.
Well, it's gone from a passion into a job now, mate. So it's like that's what puts bread on the table, and it wasn't like that before. You know, your odd professional interest with photography before, if it brought in a little bit of money every now and then, it was just extra cash, wasn't it? Or it just helped you support you to buy a new tripod or go on another holiday. You know, now it puts bread on the table. So it's got a different meaning, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, definitely.
Especially having lockdown. I mean, you, Paul, at the moment with all the lockdowns and everything we've had, and you've got to work from home. How the hell do you do it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. It really is. I mean, I have to get Claire to lock me in the office basically, because the kids are still too young to understand that although I'm at home, I'm still working.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. It's difficult to hold it together because you're trying your best to try and get the best of both worlds. You're trying to spend time with the kids and you're trying to get your work done, and it gets stressful. It's like, leave me alone. I need to get this finished.
Yeah.
It's constant interruptions, and especially with my two, they're loud. They're really loud. So
they're boys, mate. They're boys.
I just can't escape it. It's just like 90 miles an hour everywhere. So it's difficult. Noise cancelling headphones, that's what I need.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I mean, a good technique would be just to open up the office door and say, okay, I'm going to work now. So just pretend that I've gone and I'm coming back at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
That's but that's not it's not always the case, isn't it? Like you said, little kids just don't understand that, do they?
No, well, this is it. And it knocks on the door and they'll play at your heartstrings. It's, Dad, can I have a cuddle?
Yeah.
And it's like,
you can't say, no, bugger
off. You feel like it, but you can't.
You can't, can you?
Yeah.
That's why
it took at your heartstrings.
A lot of people like work from home. Like I know my missus works from home a lot, but people that sort of worked in the city or offices in these days, they've all got sheds, haven't they?
Yeah.
Or outbuildings, and they actually do make a lunchbox or make a sandwich or whatever, and they actually do go from the house to the bottom of the garden.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they couldn't. If there was, I know my missus would be terrible. Sometimes I come home from work and she's been working from home. I don't know why I'm doing this because people listening can't see. But,
no, they can't, can they? What do you call them? I can't remember. I can tell you in Italian, but I can't think of it in English anymore. Oh, God. That's bad. Invert commas, yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad. That's the only reason why I do this podcast, guys, is so I actually get to speak English so I don't forget it. For you crazy people out there actually don't know me, I actually live in Italy and I spend the majority of my day speaking in Italian. That's why I said that comment. I'm not mad. Well, I am mad, but not completely anyway.
We should try to have a conversation with him. He doesn't even know which one of us is Tom and which one of us is Paul most of the time.
I tell you, you're both Poms, all right? You're all the same. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
He's always panicking me, see, because I'm dreadful. I'm thinking, what have I forgot to do? He's asked me to do something. I'm sure I've done everything I needed to do for the. And then I think, no, he's talking about Paul.
Yeah.
It takes a while to sink in, doesn't it? Oh, God.
So what about you then, mate? You work shifts, so at least from my perspective, my days are very regimented and set breaks, and so for you, it's even harder to.
Well, so what Matt does is basically when he's getting stressed and he hasn't got enough time in the day, he'll go and walk into something and make sure he knacks his foot so he's off work for another month so he can get everything done.
God. I'm an idiot. Okay, I broke my toe about 2.5 months ago now, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah.
And I was off work. Obviously, I couldn't walk, and I just bashed it again tonight. But it's been swollen for about the last 3 or 4 days because I just keep walking on a foot I shouldn't have been walking on, and then it was already bad, and then I've just bashed it again. So yeah, it could be on a disability pension for a little while, I think, guys. Or you won't be seeing me doing any on-field videos, that's for sure. It'll all be post-production stuff. Yeah. No, how do I deal with it? How do I look? The first thing is for me is that. Obviously, priority number one's family, isn't it? Family, friends, social life, and that comes first. And obviously, our job should come pretty high up too with regard to that. I work very long hours, so I'm probably doing at least 50 hours a week, night shifts. It's all mixed all over the place, but. Look, I've probably only gone completely mad crazy on photography in the last 6 or 7 years. I mean, I've been doing landscape photography for 20 years now, but it's probably been the last 6-7 years since my first little child was born, actually. It's not his fault. And so since that's happened, I've tried to prioritize myself, and number one, I don't go out all the time. I would love to, but I've learnt that when I go out, I make sure that I'm very, very productive when I'm out. You'll see me when I'm out, and I used to be the guy who would sit on location and wait for the light to come in and sit there and not move and just get that one position, that one composition, and get 2 or 3 shots, and everything was over. When I'm out now, I'm running around like mad for hours, and I might even completely change location and jump in the car and drive somewhere else to go somewhere else, and then take more photos and do video too, and just get very, very productive in that short time I'm out when that happens, which is normally early in the morning. Like I would normally leave home when it's dark, get on location before sunrise, hopefully know my location beforehand, because I hate going out somewhere new when it's dark. It's not good, is it? And then all of a sudden the sun's come out and you go, that's not a good composition. Quickly, shit, I got to find somewhere else to go. So, yeah, apart from being out on field, everything else is just basically very, very early in the morning, waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning, doing all your editing and late at night, being very productive late at night and making sure you're keeping your content out late at night and trying not to affect family life at all during the day. Once those kids are up, once your wife's out of bed, for me, photography is pretty much over. Apart from the odd comment on Instagram or someone might have sent me a message out about a workshop or something like that, the phone's there. I'll quickly send them a message or whatever. But apart from that, it's during the day it's all about family and hopefully like to keep it that way. The fact that I don't go out once a week, I probably go out once a month. I find it actually healthy too. I would love to be able to do what Paul's doing and go full time. But at this stage, I actually have a full-time job, a full-time commitment, and to keep the photography things on a professional level part-time, I actually like to just dab at it, not do too much of it, because I want to be able to do it for my whole entire life and I don't want to get burnout, And I see too many people in photography disappearing off the planet. And I think a lot of that's due to burnout because they get so heavy into it earlier on. And so for me, it's it'll be good to have a few more hours a day, wouldn't it, to be able to get stuck into photography. But at the same time too, I think it's actually healthy as well. It keeps the passion alive without overdoing it too much. Look at this. There's many other fronts too, guys, isn't there? Like we're saying before, I was going to say off camera before we started recording the podcast. There's other techniques that we can use out there too. If you're not going out often, maybe you're only going out 2 or 3 times a year because of your work commitments. You might not have money to be able to travel, or, you have kids or you have illnesses in the family. There's reasons why you can't go out very often, but you're mad passionate about photography and you want to maintain that consistency in photography. There's so many instruments we can use now to keep photography in your head alive without actually having to be there. So what do you guys use? Absolutely nothing. Okay, we'll move on then.
No, so it depends on really. I mean, if you're not going out, I guess. I mean, I've had quite a lot of people contact me through YouTube saying that it's great to have the channel because they can live the passion through where I go, really. And a lot of the time they'll want to watch the videos just for the sake of getting out to see places that they wouldn't be able to get to. So I suppose for people watching, our videos are a great thing, and everybody else's that do it, because for the people that can't get out very often, it keeps the passion alive. They can still learn about photography. They can still engage with it. However, if they're wanting to go out on trips and what have you, it does get quite difficult when family are involved. I don't know how you guys have dealt with it in the past, but I know for a fact that unless I go out, it's no good me going out with the family and saying, right, I'll go and try and get something done while I'm out with them, because it just won't happen. It won't happen. Unless I can physically split off from them and Claire takes the kids for a walk somewhere while I go and do something, then that's the only way I can do it. Because if I try and go out as a family unit, I know for a fact it won't happen.
Also, too, even not just the fact that they might be like, jumping in front of the camera or knocking your camera on the ground, stepping on your tripod leg or pulling on your pants while you're trying to get a long shutter shot or whatever. You're not in the mindset, are you? Having the family there, and you just think, what's the point? Because I'm not in the mindset I need to be in.
Well, you're not, because you're worrying about, oh my God, are they going to go in the water? Or you know what I mean? You're a parent at the end of the day. You're looking out for what they're doing. Stop throwing stones at that. It's all those things that it totally takes you off what you're focused on.
Yeah.
And you just can't concentrate, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. I find as well, like if I'm not out in the morning or in the evening when it's quiet, I can't concentrate as much neither. Well, when I lived in Bude, obviously you're surrounded by like seascapes, and they've got loads of sea pool, and there's lots of little man-made things, so you can do sort of arty-farty long exposures.
Yeah.
There's always someone walking past. There's always someone walking in front of you. There's never any clean sands. There's lots of other distractions as well, even when you're not with the family.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there you go. It's you go, mate.
No. Sorry, keep going. It's this.
No, I was just going to say it's just it's you're all constantly fighting between family, taking a shot, relaxing, being in the moment, and photography for me is massively about being in the moment. You have to feel it, I think.
And you have to feel it, and you have to feel it for a prolonged I don't know what it's like when you guys get on field, but usually the first 20 minutes for me, I need to calm down and start seeing. You know,
Yeah.
You cannot arrive on location and just go, yeah, bang, done it, doom. Yeah. Well, actually,
click, got it.
No,
definitely not.
There's a lot of people out there that do it though, mate, and they're very successful on Instagram. So,
yeah, daily uploads and all that. No.
Yeah, just to be able to calm down and just you can't have it with your children, or I don't even like Adam Hanley on their last podcast is saying that his wife goes out with him. That's awesome. I love that. But there's no way, as much as I love my wife, and she wouldn't dare to disturb me for a second, or I couldn't do it because it's for me. It's about being on my own or being with other photographers who know exactly what I'm feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you don't have to worry about their feelings, and they don't have to worry about your feelings because you're all there for the same reason, and you all know where everyone needs to be in that space in time. And
we're not standing there looking at the watch saying, "Come on, get a move on."
Yeah.
Although I should probably take my wife out with me because it's funny. Like if I've got an image that I'm just ecstatic about, there's a few images of mine that are my favourites that I've printed out, and some I've printed out really big, and I'm going, look at this, and she's going, it's not bad.
Paul and Tom's are better, but
yeah. But you know what? I've got this feeling if I took her out on field, she'd be like looking behind the back of the LCD screen and say, no, what? Your composition's out of whack. Go over a little bit to the left. Yeah, it might work. I might try it.
Give it a go, eh?
Yeah,
why
it could
not?
Be positive, mate. Could be positive.
It could be. Hey, guys, to break it up for a minute, to break up the subject, just because on our last podcast we briefly spoke about our official sponsor for the podcast, and we'd like to go into that, in a bit more detail because it's a special podcast for us, and we're very, very proud to have this partner with us, and we just want to just make a mention of it. And so our new sponsor, as everyone heard on our last podcast, is Case Global, Case Filters, and we've all got a special place for Case Filters. We don't have the sponsor because, it's free gear or advertising or something for us. We're all Case users, and we've been using the products, and we're very, very passionate about it. Tom, how long have you been using Case Filters now? Because I think originally I found out about you through the UK.
I've been I've been an ambassador for Case for 4 years.
Okay.
4 years, maybe. Yeah. I just like the way that it looked initially. I'm not flash, but I gotta like the product visually, and it's got to work functionally for me. So, I'm like a magpie. I got drawn to shiny things, and
three-legged thing tripod.
Shiny.
Winston.
And now I'm on Nicky now, mate.
I'm sorry.
I have got a Winston as well. But yeah, Case Foot was just they looked the part, and I thought, I'm going to give that a go and investigate. And I was lucky to get chatting with Andrew from the UK side of Case, Andrew Yu, and we had a chat, and things went from there really. And I had some I had some test stuff off them and I liked it, and then I bought my own stuff.
What a great bloke, Andrew. Great bloke. He's done amazing things with that brand. I love the way that he's managed to build up a brand, a product, something new, which was probably 6 or 7 years ago now. It could be a bit more, could be a bit less. And he's managed to not only sell a great product to photographers in the UK, but build a very, very strong community of photographers around it. It's not just – I've really, really found with Andrew Yu's support in the UK and hearing this from overseas. I mean, this is information I've got. I'm overseas. I'm not actually in the UK. This is information I've got directly back to me from a lot of photographers that have said that, the community of and support that you get from actually using Case is incredible in the UK. And I think it's a good reason not only to buy a good product, but to also feel like you're part of a family, like part of – if something's going wrong with your product, you feel like you can ask another photographer for help or ask directly the buyer of the product, how can I fix this issue? You feel like there is a direct support there. You're not left on your own. It's not something you bought off Amazon. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing about Case, especially in the UK. Something it's building overseas now, isn't it? Paul, you're now an official Case Global Ambassador, right?
Yeah. That's something I've just recently taken on. So, I'm still getting to know the brand. I'm still getting to know the equipment. But from what I've tested, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's what I like about it. It's simple but it's so functional. There's no sort of massive bells and whistles with. I mean, the filter system I'm using is obviously the circulars.
Yep.
And it's just simple. It's so small. It's light. You just throw it in your bag, and it's not taking up a whole load of room. The weight of my bag's gone down considerably since using them.
So you don't have a square system. You've got all circular at the moment, or
all circular. That's
so
all
they're these circular systems that Case have bought out now. They're magnetic, so they've got like magnetic strips on it. You just stack them on top of each other. So easy to use, aren't they? Is that what you use too? Tom, you got the magnetic, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I started off with a square screw on, you had your adapter ring and then you had your holder. And I think it was the K8 I started with, and they got a K9 out now.
K9, yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to the round ones when I started getting into layer masks and luminosity masks, and I sort of done away with the grads. And then I thought, I don't need the Holden anymore. I just need a polarizer and my NDs. Yeah. So that's why I went. And it's so compact. It's like 3 inches
simplifies
square.
It, doesn't it? It simplifies everything because you're not carting around all the gear.
Sometimes I even leave them on my lenses. I take 3 lenses out of me. Sometimes I think, I need a polarizer and a 10 stop or 3 stop, and I'll just pop them all on my 3 lenses, and I don't even take the bag with me. It's just so easy.
I mean, that's not to say that. I mean, the square systems still have their place in photography for sure.
Well, yeah, it just depends on. I think it depends a lot on what kind of photography you mainly do.
Yeah.
I still carry grads around with me just on the off chance. It's not that I don't use them completely. I'll still have them in my bag just on the off chance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But the majority of the time I find I don't need them. But for the odd time where you do, it's nice to have them there.
Definitely. Especially like seascapes. I think seascapes, they still have their place because you do have that very straight horizon, don't you? You don't have anything protruding coming out that actually darkens an area that you wouldn't normally want to darken. So they've still definitely got their place, haven't they?
Yeah, I totally agree. If I still lived by the sea, still lived in Cornwall, I probably wouldn't have switched to circular if it was. But now shooting woodlands, I just don't use grads.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So great products.
Great product, great brand, and it's great to have them on board with the
Certainly
podcast.
Is.
It really is.
Yeah, man, you think my story with Case is actually quite long. It's going back quite a while now. I think probably about 5 years. I have to be at least 5 years. I I've always used filters, guys. I mean, I've originally started out with oh God,
I think you said once. Did you do coking? Did you start?
That's
off with
right.
coking?
Yeah, we talked about filters in the past, didn't we? Went from Coke and then I went to Breakthrough, different brands. Then about 5 years ago, I went to Case, and I was actually approached by someone from Italy who actually said, if you want a good filter for, because I bought this new 15 to 30 lens, those big bulging lenses.
Yeah,
you can't have a screw-in system. So I was approached by them to try out, which I've actually purchased myself. This filter kit, very, very complicated filter kit at the time, and I was a bit skeptical, just with bad experiences with filter brands in the past. But doing my research, I found out these filters are actually ridiculously neutral, and they're so resistant. Right. Since then, I've upped my models. I've got the latest models now, and they're just amazing. If anyone's out there looking to invest in new filters, definitely contact one of us guys or contact Andrew, you or anyone else, depending where you are in the world. But we're really, really happy about having them as our sponsor, because they're a great product, definitely, and we all endorse them heavily.
Definitely.
So, what are we talking about again today, guys? I forgot now.
Family.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, another subject that, we're talking about trying to keep the brain alive, isn't it, when you're not going out much?
Yeah.
And we're talking about YouTube, which is a huge instrument, probably the most powerful instrument, isn't really, to study and to keep your mind alive when you're not going out as much. Someone else is doing the exercise for you, aren't they, really?
Yeah, well, this is it. But you're still getting that sort of how do I put it? You're still getting the feel of being there. You're still getting
it's immersive.
You're still picking up. Yeah, it's immersive. Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. You're getting new ideas, techniques. You're keeping up to date with equipment. You're seeing what other photographers are doing. And it keeps it's like keeping your software up to date, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
It's like so you don't lose it. One instrument I've found that's ridiculously powerful, and I've been using it ever since it started, was podcasts.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate podcasts, people.
Yeah, we should really talk about this.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. I'm serious. And for me, I'm really enthusiastic doing this podcast with you guys, not because I love you blokes. I think you're beautiful people and beautiful photographers, but to actually to be part of a podcast is amazing, because if people can appreciate a podcast as much as I have from others and learnt everything that I've learnt from other podcasts in the past, it's incredible. Getting into the head of other photographers, having people being interviewed, some of the best photographers in the world, or even talking about new techniques, anything. There's so much information, and especially when you're a family, it's hard to find that time. And getting in a car, driving to work, or being on the train, or whatever, or late at night, or when you go for a run, go for a jog, or whatever. So that was my dog then, who just got scared of something. Anyway, he just got up all of a sudden, went like that, and laid back down again. He does that. Poor old man.
Where's he get that from, eh?
It's just might bash his paw in a minute and break it.
Yeah, that'll be the next thing. He'll walk into a blooming step or something. That'll be it.
Oh god. Just listening to podcasts a lot. There's so many, but it's not. We all know the best podcast out there is definitely ours.
100%.
Well, I got started actually. That's when I was driving. When I was driving all the time, that's how I got started in immersing myself in photography. I started listening to the Improved Photography podcast.
Improved Photography.
Yeah, because there was so many different ones. Obviously, there was different types, different podcasts within that brand for different things.
Was there Tripod?
There was Tripod. And Nick Page was on that, and there was Brian McGuckin was on another one, and there was a whole host of them.
Yeah,
and I used to listen to all of them. I downloaded the whole lot because obviously sitting in the van all day, I was bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
Today's episode of the Landscape Photography Vlogcast is proudly sponsored by Case Filters Global, bringing a high-quality filter shooting experience to many global landscape photographers and enthusiasts. Paul, Tom and Matt all use these filters on field and highly endorse the product. So if you're looking for a filter system to add to your camera bag that is durable, easy to use and highly functional and most importantly optically neutral, then look no further than Case Filters. Case. Capture with confidence.
Yeah, so I used to listen to all those because they were a great source of information.
Oh, of course they are. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that podcast?
Well, they sold it off, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to it, and it switched. I think some of them took it over. I think it's still going in some form. It's just under a different name, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously, listening to podcasts is bringing it back to the family thing. It's when people are at work. Do you think when you're driving?
You've got that dead time, don't you? That time where you're not disturbing anyone in the family, or it's quite easy to access. You know, you could be driving in your car, going to work, coming home from work, late at night, taking the dog out for a wee, whatever it is. Any time of day that you're not interrupting family, or you're actually actively doing something else. You're washing the dishes, for example. You know. Putting the clothes out in the line, stick your headphones on and put a podcast on, listen to 15 minutes here and there. It's I think it's really, really important, podcasts.
But it's really immersive as well.
Gotcha.
You're kind of blocking everything else out and you're just solely listening.
Yeah, definitely. What other techniques have we got out there, guys? So we talked about YouTube, we talked about podcasts, we talked about going out early in the morning. Holidays. When you go on holidays, do we look for photographic locations when we go on holidays? Like when your wife says, "Let's go away for a week to Palm Springs," and you go, "Palm Springs." What's the first? No. When she says Palm Springs, you go, "Oh yeah, I'll have a look into that." What do? You quickly get the phone, you get onto 500 pics, and you type Palm Springs. And you see awesome photo, and you go, "Yep, we'll go there. That sounds good."
I'll get my bag.
Yeah, I'll get my bag, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've definitely done that. Definitely, I tend to dedicate at least one day of the week where I can go out for sunrise.
Yeah.
I get a whole pass for a morning. Definitely, yeah. But again, you have to, like you said earlier, Matt, it's kind of dedicating time. I think, what do you say, Paul, when you actually have to split off? You actually have to.
You have to kind of separate. You've got to kind of give you that yourself that space, I think. Because if you try and just make it work, it just never does.
No.
I've done it so many times, and now Claire says to me, because I'll say to her, "Well, maybe we could take the kids here, and I'll go and do it." She says, "It doesn't work. Just forget it.
Yeah,
just go. It's not going to happen."
Yeah.
I think the most important one at all that's definitely worth a mention are our wives.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not an easy hobby to have for them, is it? Let's face it.
Really, no.
Let's face it. It takes up a lot of time, doesn't it? It's
and it's expensive.
And it's expensive. That's right. It's not like your husband's gone out to go and play footy and he comes back with his muddy boots once per week and that's done.
Yeah.
He comes back with his $4,000 lens.
Oh God!
It's not at all cheap.
It's not. It's not cheap. It takes up a lot of time, and I think we have our wives to thank for, don't we? Because they put up with us, don't they? And
for sure.
I think the only way to fix it is you got to convert them into landscape photographers too, don't you? To actually make them understand how much of a what's the word? Disease isn't the right word, is it? I was trying to think of a way to call it. What would you call
disease? Don't go down
an addictive passion.
Well, it is there. Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely addictive because it's something you do go to bed and think about it sometimes, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do all the time. Yeah, I always, especially with the YouTube thing, I always trying to think, I could do that, go that, and do this.
Yeah,
and then, like when you're laying in bed at night, like you said, that is a bit of quiet time, isn't it?
It certainly is. Yeah,
to yourself,
it's a good bit of thinking time, isn't it?
Really. Yeah.
But
So
I've got to. Sorry, yeah, go.
I was just gonna say, like, how do you, when you isn't quiet time, how do you resist not picking your phone up? How do you resist not answering that comment? How do you resist not answering that email or something?
I don't.
You just don't.
I do.
You just don't. You just resist. I just don't. You just don't. Oh, you don't resist. Oh no. See, I got picked up. I got picked up on it a few years ago, and it was made quite evident that maybe it was a little bit too much. And when I heard that comment, I understood very, very clearly that it was too much, wasn't it? And the kids were very little at the time, but when you're trying to build up, I'm talking a few years ago now, when you're trying to build up a profile on social media, it doesn't matter how much of a good photographer you are. If you want to do something, anything on a professional level, you need to do a lot of work on social media. You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to, because if you don't,
it's time consuming. It really is.
It is time consuming. I mean, guys, I was talking to you guys about this when I broke my foot a couple of months ago, and I had 7 weeks at home. I had nothing else to do. The kids were at school, so I was in front of the computer all day. I'd never seen my profile grow so much, and I wasn't out photographing. It was just because I was spending time on social media, and it just makes you realise that there's a lot of the big guns out there spend a lot of time on social media, don't they?
Well, so it's 95% of the time sitting in front of the computer, and about 5% of the time actually going and doing what you're supposed to be, which is photographing.
Oh no, isn't that sad? Isn't that sad?
This is the thing I struggle with. Is I like you, Matt? I'm nocturnal, and that is when
you don't bloody look nocturnal tonight, mate.
Wake up.
He goes, I'm nocturnal. He's got dribble coming out the side of his mouth and one eye's open.
But that's when social media is less active, isn't it? When it's like 12 o'clock at night and you think, I'm not going to post this image on Instagram now because everyone's asleep. I'll wait until the morning, and it's just like a constant vicious cycle of trying to organize when you upload, when do you edit, when do you but the biggest thing that anyone could take from this is you have to be active to be seen. Even if you're the worst photographer in the world, you see some horrendous pictures on social media and you think, how has that got, or how has he got, or how has she got? And it's because they're on it all the time.
That's right. That's right.
Dedicating time to it, I think, is part of it.
I remember speaking to a bloke probably would have been about a year and a half ago now, and he sent me a message on Instagram and said, how's it possible you've only got, I don't know what I had at the time, 4,000 followers or whatever it is. How's it possible a photographer like you has only got 4,000 followers? And I just said, well, I don't really know. I don't pay that much attention to it, mate. And we're talking about a photographer that's got quite an important name on these social media fronts that we all are very, very familiar with. And he or she answered me, I have this presence because basically, I had a good 10, 12 hours per day to kill. And so I was spending 10, 12 hours a day on Instagram.
Yeah.
Clicking away, commenting, following, unfollowing, whatever you do, putting up posts every single day, putting up videos every single day, putting up stories all the time, putting out content constantly. And so we can't underestimate it's one thing if it's just a passion. It's one thing if you're doing it on some form of professional level, because you cannot survive without social media.
No.
In today's profession, which is actually another good podcast to talk about in the future, guys. It's a whole separate issue, isn't it?
Definitely.
Whole separate equation. How do you resist? You asking me? God, you asked me about that 4 minutes ago, and I've rambled on since, haven't I?
Yeah, we're used to it though. Don't worry about it.
I wasn't looking for a quick answer.
That's because
we'll get to the point eventually.
I drank a glass of wine. Now my foot's gone numb, and I'm feeling a bit better now. So I'm just
there you go.
I'm warming up.
I told you to have a drink; it would sort everything out.
God.
Not sponsored by any drink companies, but
no.
get in touch.
Yeah.
Who should we contact? Lagavulin?
Yeah, yeah.
Do I say it well? Lagavulin?
Yeah, Lagavulin, yeah.
Oh,
who the hell are they?
Oh, mate, you're missing out.
Whiskey, yeah.
Oh, it's a peaty whiskey, bloody beautiful.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's my fav. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, I'll bring you over a bottle. It comes from Scotland. It's dirt cheap here in Italy because the taxes bugger all. Let you for about £30. You get a bottle of it over here.
All right.
Yeah, it's about
That's a new one on me, that one.
Lagavulin 16-year-old is one of the it's one of the classic 6 malts.
Beautiful. Yeah, bloody good.
I got a bottle in the under the office here somewhere.
Right.
In the office?
Yeah,
Jeez.
well, it's in the corner. I can't reach it. But
I wouldn't like to see how you write.
I'm a bit of a whiskey collector, mate. I've got about 50 bottles. 60 bottles now. If Kirsty's listening, 30 bottles.
Wow. So, okay, we're going to get a whiskey pot sponsor. Yeah, definitely. You see what happens? You ask me a question and we just fade off into nowhere. What the hell are you asking me?
What? How do you resist picking your phone up to answer that email or Facebook message? Or
how do you pick your moments? Pick your moments. Yeah. My phone doesn't actually sit on the dining table. I don't believe in that. When you're at the dining table with your family, if you're eating, you're eating. You know, that's precious family time to sit down at a table, and so the phone doesn't go on the table unless obviously it says, "Hey, you know, Matt, what's the weather? Dad, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow?" I'll grab the phone, I'll have a look, but then I'll throw it back over there again.
Yeah.
And then just choose your times. You know, when you're on the toilet, don't want to get descriptive with that, but it's a good time to look on Instagram, isn't it? And you know, try and, if there's a possibility, to try and put your posts up at a convenient time, but have it prepared beforehand. I like when I post to be able to be active straight after I've posted it, because especially if it's an image or a video, it's something that really I put a lot of work into. I believe that piece of art deserves activity. You know, it's not about just posting and then you're done with it. You know, I want to stay active. I want to have the time for people who've actually taken their time to comment and say, "It's a lovely photo. How did you take that?" And if I don't answer it, I just feel like that wasn't nice. That person just said something beautiful about a photo and wants a response from me. So I should be ready to actually respond to them. So it's hard to try and find that right time, isn't it? So I think it's about preparation and having I tend to, especially when I post up an image, I like to always have a really important story or a piece of poetry or something behind an image. I'll have it prepared on the computer and I'll copy and paste it into my phone so it's ready to go, you know. So when I go to post, I don't spend time actually, you know, hashtagging and do all this type of stuff. It's actually there, bang, ready to go, and then I can just utilize that time as quickly as I can. And it's definitely not easy. There's no wrong or right answer about when to use social media, is there? Because
well, not at all. It's just definitely about keeping the engagement going, and as you say, taking the time out to reply to people who've taken the time to.
Definitely. Because the more you put into the beast, the more you get out, I would say.
Yeah,
that's content and messages.
Well, that's why they call it social media, because it's about being social, isn't it? Really,
yeah, exactly,
I mean, there's no point in. I remember talking to a bloke a while ago. Said, I can't understand why my images are so awesome compared to all these crap out there. You know, all this you know, Instagram filtered imagery. I spend hours on my images and I put them up on Instagram and nothing ever happens to them. And I said, well, okay, but you put an image up on Instagram, but what do you do on Instagram? Nothing. I just post my images up. Well, you're never going to get anywhere, mate.
No, well, this is it.
If you want to have a voice, you have to speak.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only way you're going to get heard. So, yeah, definitely. Interaction is really important, and interaction does take up a lot of time of our day. That's for sure.
It does,
definitely. Yeah, and unfortunately, that interaction takes place during the day normally, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That's when
right
people, because a lot of society doesn't have a problem sitting on a phone for 3 or 4 hours a day and just clicking away and chatting away. And for us who we treasure our precious family moments, we don't want to have the phone in front of our face, do we? So
no,
it's a good point.
It's a good balancing act.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
it certainly is. That's probably, I would say, to be honest, is probably the most difficult one out of everything
100%.
when related to landscape photography and balancing out family life. That's the most difficult because really, okay, you go out for a morning and go and shoot and you come back and turn the kettle on, the kids are up and your wife gets out of bed and the day starts. But if you've got to have that phone in front of you all the time, that's affecting family time. That's something we've all got to be very, very, very careful with for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Probably
I'm
should.
bad for it, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I imagine you are. Yeah, I must admit, for me, before we wrap up, I got to say on posting days on a Sunday for me, and I dare say you post on a Wednesday now, Paul, don't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to stick to my Wednesday.
Yeah, it's after that first 2 hours. Well, it didn't take me 2 hours, but that first hour, say, I am replying, sharing, spamming my video. If you want to call it spamming.
Yeah. Well, you have to.
At
the end of the day, nobody sees it unless you actually push it. This is the thing.
And obviously, the more you push it to Facebook pages, you get more comments back, and it's like a snowball. But it's very hard. I find it so hard to justify when Willow looks at me and I'm sat on my phone on 10 o'clock. My video goes out in UK, and I'm sat on my phone then for half an hour while I spread it, and then probably another half an hour replying to comments.
Yeah,
and I find that the hardest hour of my week.
Yeah,
it's not the late nights. It's when Willow wants to cuddle on the sofa, and I can cuddle, but I got my phone in my hand. It's a real pull at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Matt said earlier, a wrap up from the video really is just being organised, isn't it? With any aspect.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, if you can get things prepared, have things copy pasted, ready to go,
or even scheduled.
Yeah.
You can you can schedule your posts on Instagram and everything now, but you still need to be available once that image or whatever it is goes out there. To be
definitely.
able to reply.
Definitely.
So it doesn't always help.
Yeah.
No.
How many times can you go and take the rubbish out every day? You know, like say to your missus on a Sunday just after lunch, just go and take the rubbish out, missus. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, bye. And then you come back.
20 minutes.
Oh. I forgot to go and take out the bottles. I'll be back in a minute, and it just doesn't work, does it? No. So it's definitely a difficult one. Yeah,
it is.
But
definitely.
I've got before we close up, guys. I've got an awesome idea, and this is something I've been thinking about for a few years now. Wouldn't it be brilliant to do a workshop in a destination, and this would be a workshop actually focused on the family? So
we were discussing this the other day, weren't we? It sounded like
so to go on a location like I know, for example, in the Dolomites in Italy, there's these hotels like right on location, just with the jagged cliffs right in front of you, pine trees and cows and stuff everywhere, and waterfalls and rivers and everything. They've got these beautiful like Austrian type wooden chalets, hotels that they're actually completely family orientated. So they only couples with young children actually go to these locations. They don't accept anyone else. That if you don't have kids, you're not allowed to go there. And
right.
and they're very much focused around family activities. And a lot of these places you go to, they've got people that work in there that will grab your kids and go and take them out and go and pick flowers with them, or do some painting, or the bigger ones, I'll go and take them rock climbing, kids rock climbing and stuff like that. And the parents can join them or have a bit of free time for themselves and go and have, a sauna or a spa or something somewhere. And wouldn't it be great to be able to do that and actually organise a workshop for us photographers with families to actually take our families away on a beautiful holiday, and that free time we can actually use to go out and do some landscape photography in an epic location.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
We'll be
sign
back
me
to you
up.
about that one. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, definitely, because it hasn't been done before. I don't think really. has it?
No.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get it done. When this what's it called?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sick of it now. I'm not even naming it anymore.
Omicron.
Yeah,
Omicron variant. Yeah, when that's done, there'll be another one, unfortunately. But let's hope the next one is
the end of it. Yeah.
Well, the end of it. Who knows? We're not virologists, so we can't comment on this stuff.
No.
But okay, when the pandemic is all over, it'll be definitely something to look into. Anyone out there who's got a young family who would love to go and photograph in one of the most beautiful landscapes in the world, we'll sort out something for everybody. Sounds like a good plan for the future, guys.
It does, definitely.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of workshops, mindless plug coming up.
Here we go.
I still have 3 places left on mine and Dean Allen's workshop on Harrison Lewis for the 20th to the 26th of February. So if you're interested in that, please reach out and get in touch. Absolutely awesome place and a fantastic place for a workshop.
Yeah, stunning.
Yeah, I'd love to go. I'd love to come over and do it, mate. It would be beautiful. Be definitely good. Definitely. Anyone out in the UK, obviously it's a bit easier to travel around the UK at the moment, isn't it?
For sure.
Who's interested in going to a workshop? I saw some of the images you took on when you were out there last with Dean. Beautiful locations and so different. You know, you got these open beaches with beautiful white sand and very minimalistic to these jagged cliffs and
it's beautiful.
Really it was like beautiful. A Stonehenge or something there too, wasn't there? I remember
Well, it was like it's called Callanish Stone Circle, and there's it's a stone circle. It's not quite as big on the same scale as Stonehenge, but it's equally as beautiful, I would say.
That's all right. If you get a wide angle lens, you can make it look the same size. That's okay.
And there's some awesome sea stacks as well.
Yeah,
and they look just absolutely.
Yeah, it looks like a stunning place. Get in contact with Paul if anyone's interested in going in a workshop there. Sounds really exciting. So when's that for, mate?
That's from the 20th to the 26th of February.
Okay, it's coming up quick. Yep.
Yeah, it is. Not got long to go now, so we've only got about 7 weeks or so.
Sounds like an exciting workshop. Definitely.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Oh, that was great, guys. Thanks for a great chat.
Yeah, thanks, boys.
And we'll speak to each other soon. So next podcast, we'll probably have someone on. I would say we've got a few people that we've been in contact with that are keen to come on, and so we'll see you all soon.
Yeah,
cheers, mate.
Take care, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Bye for now. See ya. Bye. Bye.
And we'd just like to announce the winner of the Valerrett glove competition, and that was Tom Keddy. So well done for winning that, mate. If you could provide us with some details, we'll pass that on over to Valerrett and they'll get in touch and square you up with some gloves. Well done again.